We're on, brother. Welcome.
All right. So welcome to episode number 6 of Transatlantic MMA. Very excited to announce that we are going to be joined to recap UFC 249 by Ultimate Fighter 19 winner, Eddie Truck Gordon. I believe he is in the process of joining right now.
I'm waiting in the rings here, so I'll just let him straight in.
Yeah, well, for anyone who doesn't know, hold on, I'll show you a picture of I'll show you a glance of Eddie Truck Gordon here. Can you see that?
Yeah, that's Eddie with his tough champion.
So it was
trophy.
the BJ Penn, Frankie Edgar. That was the season. So obviously he's a lot more knowledgeable about this than we are. So it's going to be great to get his insights on, how I suppose that card overall, how he would have prepared for it. So I think he's in the process of joining. So
Perfect. I'll let him on in here now. So, and good work in getting him on, by the way. Great shout out. I'm excited to talk to him. It's cool as hell for us to be talking to people like this. So
there he is, Eddie. Welcome.
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, Eddie?
Doing good. Can't complain at all.
Good. So we just gave you a little announcement there, but if you want to give us a better one than what we just gave you, that'd be great.
Eddie Truck Gordon, UFC TUF 19 champion, best-selling author. I won a New York Emmy award-winning for my backstory. Entrepreneur, gym owner, proud dad, just a normal person that just had enough and just wanted to just be better in life and do amazing things. And that's kind of, how I'm here now.
Yeah. Well, look, thanks again for joining us, Eddie. It actually worked out to be like perfect timing because we've just had one of the best cards. I mean, that was the best card that I can think of in recent memory. So what did you think? Were you close with any of the fighters on the card at all, or?
I knew a few of the fighters. This is one of the few cards that I don't have like deep rooted bonds with a lot of fighters, which I think for me was better because I wasn't as emotionally invested. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to enjoy a fight when you know the people and you're like on the pins and needles. But you want to talk about phenomenal card. It was amazing. It was great to have some kind of normal life again.
Yeah. 100%. And that was one of the best main cards I've seen. I was 4 for 5 on my picks. Ben, what about you?
I haven't bothered calculating it yet, but I'm assuming you beat me because we went.
I would imagine so. So who did you have in the main event, Eddie?
You think you beat me too? I think I was 4 for 6 on the card. I think it wasn't that many fights. I don't remember, but I think I was 4 for 6. The main event was sick. I thought going in that Tony was gonna probably be the favorite, gonna be the guy that's gonna pull it up. But my heart said Gaethje, so my brain said Tony, my heart said Gaethje, and it turned out kind of the way I wanted it to. But I was on like pins and needles. Both fighters are warrior. Tony is not human. That guy is just not human. He walked through shots that made no sense. He absorbed so much punishment, and that's credit to his conditioning. That guy's on top-notch conditioning. And a lot of people think that it's your jaw, it's your chin, that's kind of what keeps you going. No, it's your cardio, man. It's your legs, it's your cardio, it's with the work you put in. And got to give Herb Dean super credit for stopping it when he did. Some people were upset with that. Yeah, I think it was a phenomenal stoppage. I think he could have stopped it a little bit earlier because I don't think there was anything that Tony had left, but he's a warrior. So, as a ref, you got to protect us fighters from ourselves because we don't have a off line.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good point. And one of the reasons we want to talk to people like you because everyone thinks that somebody has a good chin. It's because they're hard headed and whatnot. But it goes to show you how how much of a savage he is, and also this is someone that's been training his whole life for moments like that. And I think I'm a bigger fan of him now. You know, I had Tony, but I mean, seeing him go up against Gaethje, and Gaethje was so good, and just, you know, hanging in there for as long as he could. You know, he really is a warrior. And Eddie, in terms,
I will say this. Sorry, I will say this. I am on record for picking Gaethje to win by
yeah,
KO or TKO. So.
There you go.
yeah, Ben had that one. But so obviously we're in very, very weird times, as we've already chatted about. So, you know, what's your thoughts? You know, if you got called up to fight on a card, you know, how would you prepare? You know, would you take a fight? You know, tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, honestly, I think that I'm almost a conspiracy theorist, but I feel like if you were doing the right things throughout your whole entire life, uh, and for a long extended period of time, then you're going to be protected from the coronavirus. It's an immune, virus, and the stronger your immune system is, the healthier lifestyle you live,
Yeah,
the safer you're going to be. If you don't have any pre-existing conditions, then you're not going to be subject to sickness. I'm a big believer in numbers and science. And if you look at it, what's so weird about this whole environment that we're in now is that we're quarantining healthy people. It's
yeah,
never been like that in the past. If somebody's sick, you quarantine them.
yeah,
So to have healthy people quarantined across the world is kind of backwards. So I think the UFC, they showed that you can have events, you can have different systems in place to keep the fighters safe. You see, they pulled Jacare from the card because he tested with it. He was asymptomatic, so he wasn't showing any signs or symptoms. He was healthy, but they sided on the side of caution, which kudos to them because that would have been another sick fight.
yeah,
So I would take a fight. Um, I don't think it's something that you have to worry about if you're doing the right thing. If you don't have any pre-existing conditions, and you saw if you do have the conditions, their medical teams are going to find out for you, so it could actually help you going forward. So there's a lot of benefits to it. I like to look at the positives versus the negatives of everything.
yeah. No, 100%. And yeah, I mean, it was amazing. It was obviously a huge, huge moment for the UFC as well, being the first sport to come back. And that was the first live sporting event, at least that I know of, prior to UFC Brazilian, which was a loss. So, kudos to the UFC. It looks like they pulled it off, and I'm sure the pay-per-view numbers were pretty outrageous given everyone wanted to watch sports. So yeah, kudos to them.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what those numbers are, because
Yeah.
they weren't really household names besides Fracis Ngannou, who made his name from knocking people out every which way. But Tony Ferguson, he wasn't really a big mainstream name. Justin Gaethje, he had 6 fights. He's the human highlight. He's the walking bonus collector.
Yeah.
So I want to see what those numbers are. But everybody you see celebrities from all walks of life tweeting about it, talking about it. It was the only live sporting event. So that's going to be huge. And on a huge platform like ESPN and on streaming devices. So you can be anywhere in the world and then get it. I thought, that they would have probably lowered the price for the actual event based on the economic times. But I get it. The UFC has to make money as well. But I feel like if they would have lowered the price point, you would have seen an enormous amount of pay-per-view buys. I feel like if they would have probably made it $25-$30, quarantine COVID-19 special, they would have probably just smashed all records, and they probably end up making even more money because some people just can't afford, $50-$60 right now in these current times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of talked about that as them missing out on look, they definitely didn't miss out, but I think they, the point that you made, I think they probably missed out on potentially more because if they made it more accessible, there's a lot of people who are huge fans and they're like, I want to watch live sport, but I'm not paying $65, and so I think they might have missed out slightly, but I can only imagine with no other sport being live, they made a lot of money from this. So.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Like you figure, man, they cut the payroll cost. So they had less people working. They didn't have like punch stat numbers. They didn't have some of that stuff, and it was an amazing card. You see the announcers. I'm a big fan of DC. He's a great human being. Joe Rogan, all those guys. Anik is the man. Like good relationship with him, and you see how excited they were. They thought that not having fans was going to slow down the atmosphere fair.
Yeah.
But it like as a fighter myself watching it, I enjoyed it even more. I think you've seen the post fight interviews were way better. It was less emotional. You actually got to hear people talk and actually like build their brand. You were able to hear the corners. You were able to hear some of the shots that people don't realize are powerful shots. Like you got like that was as close as a real life you can get from a spectator standpoint.
Yeah.
Because jabs hurt. you don't see too many knockouts from jabs, but they sting just as much as some of the power shots. And you can hear the impact of those leg kicks, the checks, the this, the that. You can hear them breathing heavy. You can hear everything. So it was almost like being in the actual fight in the cage with them. So I think it was powerful. But I think that man, if I was the UFC man, if they would have just lowered the price point, they could have not just captured more dollars, but they could have captured some more casual fans, because anybody that tuned into that event, they were going to tune into a next UFC event like that, because that card was just it was from top to bottom. If you have Anthony Pettis and Cowboy Cerrone on the main, or not even on the main card, and like come on, that just says it there right there. Those are main event guys, and I'm talking about from the first fight to the last fight was just awesome.
Yeah. And speaking of Pettis and Cerrone, how did you score that? Because I had Cowboy in that one.
Yeah, I honestly, man, I got a personal vendetta against judges because it's a tough job. There's no doubt about it. And I just feel like the judges last that night, they didn't really get all of the fights right. I think all of the fights that went to a scorecard, it was just, I don't know, like even Carla Esparza and Michelle Watterson. Yeah. That fight, I don't see, it was a close fight, but I don't see how they could give it 30-27 at that. Some of those cards were 30-27. I think two of them. That's unheard of. That's just crazy.
There's just so many cards where we're talking about this, right? It's like after every card, we're talking about the judges at least once.
Exactly. And Ben, you're right, man. I think like every single card, there's something that the judges come and play a part, which they shouldn't. And I feel like it's tough because what's their qualifications? What's the ramifications? For a fighter, you get paid 50% of your purse. I'm sorry, you get your purse, but then you don't get your win bonus on most contracts. So like you're damaging and you're hurting a fighter significantly. And if you say, I know Dana's famous words, keeps out of the hands of the judges. When you're fighting another top level guy and the competition is close, you're not going to get as much finishes as you're going to get if it's outmatched. Like if I fight a guy that thinks he's a tough guy in the street, 9 out of 10 times I'm going to finish that guy because he doesn't have any training experience, he doesn't have any technique. But when you have two high level fighters that have been trained for each other for 6 to 8 weeks, it's going to be harder to finish them. Look how long it took Gaethje to finish Tony. And Tony was game and like it was going. So it's like you can't say that. You can't say leave it in the hands of the judges. You should be able to go out there, fight your fight, fight your techniques, fight your strategy, and not have to worry about, oh my gosh, I hope they're doing their job. It's enough stress on the fighters already.
I think that's a great point. I mean, it shouldn't. The whole thing of leave it, it shouldn't go to the judges, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's just not realistic every fight. Nobody's going to finish every single fight. And, as you said, like, this is their livelihood. And particularly for Michelle Watterson, I thought she won that. Again, close fight, but I think, the first round and the third round would probably toss us. The second round, I thought Michelle clearly won. And then I saw the 30-27. I was like, okay, Michelle must be getting this. And then Esparza got it, and I was like, wow, I just did not score it that way. And, that's a tough one for Michelle because she's 34 now, I think, and she moves to the wrong end of the division. So,
They were talking about her getting a title fight before this. Yeah. And now that just kind of put that, obviously, at bay. Yeah. So it's tough, man. It's tough, but, UFC loves her. She got a good management team. She'll bounce back from it. She has a lot of different things going on outside, but that's not the case for everybody. So I don't know. I will hope that they'll do something about it. And unfortunately it's not even the UFC. They don't select the judges. That's the athletic commission. So people think that the UFC picks the refs. They pick the the judges. No, it's not. That's not the case. Whatever state, whatever country they're in, that athletic commission pretty much puts the event together, and they don't have zero say in it. So that's the scary part. We just hope these commissions start to do the right thing. We have a lot of boxing judges in mixed martial arts. We need mixed martial arts judges.
Yeah.
Whether it's a school, whether it's they sit down, there's maybe it should be like a requirement. You should train a certain amount of hours, like some kind of certification. Because when you are in charge of millions of dollars transactions, like if you think about all of the win bonuses and all of the money involved, they're responsible for a significant amount of revenue. So I feel like they should have a little more qualifications. You shouldn't just fill out a paper and become a judge.
I never actually looked at it like that. They are responsible for monetary gains for fighters or losses. I suppose that's an interesting way about that.
You look at just the two fights that we spoke about, right? Michelle Watterson and Cowboy versus Anthony Pettis. Like Cowboy's in the six figures himself. You figure maybe he's fighting 250.
Yeah.
Maybe he's fighting 150. Like they'll release the numbers. But Michelle's probably fighting maybe 100. So you look at just those two people, $250,000 was affected by the judges.
Yeah.
And that's one night.
Yeah.
Eddie, I wanted to pick your brain on the mentality of a fight card without a crowd. I found myself just watching everyone walking out, particularly Sam Alvey at the start, and he was like pretending to high five people. There was no one there, and but I was just thinking, kind of in the locker room, like for me, if I was to think about having a fight, I'd be terrified, probably because of the amount of people there and stuff. Would that change the kind of not the preparation by any means, but just the mental state, walking out, seeing the empty arena, would that mess up the mind at all before a fight, you think?
See, it's funny you say that because I'm fortunate enough to kind of be in that circumstance, because I fought 5 fights, with the UFC, under Ultimate Fighter circumstance where there was literally no fans, small arena, no, literally a gym.
Yeah.
And I was able to fight in the finale in front of, hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people online, on TV. So it's crazy. I feel that the weirdest part of it would be actually the walking out into the cage, into the ring. Once Bruce Buffer announces your name, it's just you, the fighter, and the ref. After that, it kind of doesn't really matter. Like that's fight or flight. At that point, I feel like it's an advantage because as a fighter, when nobody's cheering and screaming, you could actually hear your corner, who's like your third eye. Every fight that I've lost, every fight that I've won, when I go back and watch the fight, I always say to myself, why in the world did I do that? That was so wide open. My coach was saying this. Why did I listen? So it's like, at that point, you could hear your coaches descriptively. You could hear DC commentating. You could hear, so you can hear everything. So I think it's almost like, man, that'll be kind of, pretty, and then to me, an advantage. Because what are you more used to when you're training, sparring, and competing for the fight? No crowds are there. So it's the closest thing to normal. It's the closest thing to your natural environment. That's what makes, I think, Conor McGregor so great, is that he rises to the occasion. I think that's what makes Kelvin Gastelum so great, so amazing. He rises to the occasion when the fans are there because, nobody talks about what happens in the training room, but you have some training room warriors that are studs in the training room. And then when it's time for fight time, they're just not themselves, whether it's weight cutting or it's just the actual fans themselves. But that's what separates, the average from the greats. So I think it could be a lot of advantages, and that goes per fighter. Some fighters love the crowd. You heard Dana say it. He can't put on a Conor McGregor card. Conor's ready to fight right now. He can't put on that card because he'll lose too much money from the gate, and Conor wants the fans. So it's like, it's just every fighter is going to be a little bit different. So we'll see.
It might be a while though, so I don't know how long Dana's going to push off a Conor McGregor fight because they'll still do big numbers on pay-per-view.
Oh, they'll do massive numbers on pay-per-view. Realistically, what they would lose would be the gate, which that's the only thing they'll lose, which is what, $18 million. Now, instead of all of the security you got to pay for all that stuff, take that money and just put it into advertising and marketing.
Yeah.
Drop the price of that pay-per-view, and I don't think there's any household that wouldn't buy a $30 Conor McGregor pay-per-view card. They would probably do close to 10 million pay-per-view buys.
Probably, yeah.
They'll probably do 10 million pay-per-view buys. Like maybe 10 million is a little bit crazy, but maybe they'll do 7-8 million pay-per-view buys at $30 a pop versus $60 at 1 million, 2 million pay-per-view buys. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer because people literally can't. People can't go to their friend's house and watch it with their friends now. They can't go to bars and watch it. They'll literally be at the house, and it's a lot easier to drop $30, versus $60 when you got to worry about keeping your lights on. So sometimes you got to take a step back in order to take a huge leap forward.
Yeah. Eddie, it sounds like you want Dana's job. I think you've thought a lot by the sounds of things.
Listen, Dana is the man. Like some people don't like Dana for whatever reason, but me and Dana have a great relationship. He's a businessman. Like he's a businessman. His job is almost impossible because he can't make whatever decision he makes, somebody's gonna be unhappy. Yeah. So it's like his job is tough, but he gets paid pretty well for it. So if he needs a consultant, I'm always on board.
Speaking of pay. Co-main event, Cruz and Cejudo. Obviously, the fight itself. But I'm interested to get your thoughts on the fight, Eddie, but also the Cejudo retirement, because I think pay might be involved in this retirement.
There is no doubt about it that the reason why Henry's right now saying he's retiring is because of the money. Yeah. That division was always tough of a draw for the UFC to hype it up. And I personally can't understand why. When you had a Demetrius Johnson, who was literally a human video game, and they couldn't find a way to market him because he wasn't a big, mean, scary guy. He wasn't controversial. He was just very, polite and just amazing at what he does.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they can't promote a guy like that, because if you just zoom in the camera in on all of his fights, he looks big. Everybody looks big on camera, and I understand people aren't going to be afraid of a 125-pound man, but just take away that atmosphere of it. Don't talk about his weight. Just talk about his accomplishments. Just talk about his fights. Show his finishes. Anybody that watches his fights, you're just in awe because the things he does is just so phenomenal. That Dominick Cruz and Henry Cejudo fight was very short-lived, but that fight was amazing. The way those guys are just moving, kicking, punching. It's nonstop action, and I don't see how you can't promote that fight. You look at Asia and what is it, ONE FC? Those guys are selling out $50,000, $60,000 seat arenas every single card, and most of those guys are smaller guys, but people just appreciate those guys more. It's just you got to spend the marketing money to build these guys up, and I think the UFC just didn't want to do that, and Henry wasn't getting paid. But as much as cringy as he is,
he can scrap.
The guy could scrap, man. Like you can't argue with that. Like Olympic gold medal. Think about that for a second. Just think about the level that you have to be. Like mixed martial arts is tough as heck, but to be the best in the world at a weight class, you could be the second best person in the universe, and if the number one ranked guy is in your weight class in your country, you don't even make it to the Olympics.
Yeah.
So let's think, you won't even make it to the Olympics being the second best guy in the world if you live in a country where the number one guy lives in there. Yeah. So for him to go out there and win the whole entire Olympics at a super young age, come and then capture two weights, and beat some of the names that he did, some of the these guys were on performance enhancing drugs, and he still smoked them. Like that is just unheard of at that weight. It's just, it's crazy. Like you have to look at his body and work. I know most people are going to say that his level of competition wasn't there, but heck, he beat Demetrius Johnson, who I think is one of the best ever. He beat TJ Dillashaw, who I think is elite, top level, top shelf. And he went out and beat Dominick Cruz this weekend in controversy. But he was looking great. He was looking great when he did it. Was he slowing down? I do think he was slowing down in round two, right before the headbutt. But he turned it on at the right moment, and it was crazy because nobody's talking about this either. It might have been like a half a second left on the clock too.
Yeah.
How much time was left when that was finished? Like it was literally only 20 seconds when he got the headbutt. Then he came back out 10 seconds. It must have been under 5 seconds left. So it's like, geez, I wish we would have been able to see that go on.
Yeah, so I have a number of questions off of that. I mean, firstly, for me, I think, you know, everything that you've just, the points that you made about, you know, when he won the gold medal, you know, particularly, I think he did it at the age of 21 and what he's achieved now, you know, you mentioned, you know, beating Mighty Mouse, then beating TJ, then beating Marlon Moraes, then beating Dominick Cruz. Like, for me, he's top 3 greatest of all time. Like, I don't think you can dispute that. Like his accomplishments are just incredible. So where do you think he kind of weighs up now in that list?
Honestly, man, I think he is top. I think let's get crazier. Let's get crazier, right? Let's go top 2. Let's go top 2. I think the only person you can put ahead of him right now is probably GSP.
Yeah. Well,
I think GSP is he's like the Mount Rushmore of mixed martial arts. You know, if Anderson Silva didn't have all the controversy he's had in his career, then he could have been in consideration for that. John Jones, I think, is top 3. You know, he has some controversy, but his controversy is never really in the ring besides the 2 pegs, which is huge. So I think Henry right now is sitting at top 2. Him and GSP. Like as much as I don't want to ever admit that and say that, but I have to.
Yeah, it's true. What did you make of Fracis Ngannou, Eddie?
Yeah, let me tell you something. That man is an absolute savage. And this is the craziest thing, right? Everybody who's like a professional athlete, a professional trainer, if you watch that fight, it wasn't the prettiest, most technical training, but he was just mad. Ovenstrup, I hope I don't pronounce his name right, but Ovenstrup just got him pissed off. And people don't realize that guy was a high-level kickboxer.
Yeah.
He had over 80, I think, Muay Thai fights, like something crazy. His stand-up was is elite. And he thought he could stand with Fracis, and I don't think anybody's going to ever make that mistake ever again.
Yeah.
Like, we all know the blueprint is duck, run, hide, take him down, and then try to wear him down. Because if you try to trade with that man in the first round, you're probably going to go unconscious. Like I've never been worried about somebody's life after that. And it was just vicious. And I forgot who was the ref, might have been Murgalata, but they came in kind of late and Fracis had him on the fence, knocked out. He was able to land another 2 shots. And I was like, oh my God, like vicious. And I know Fracis, he's a nice guy, man. He's like the predator. When those cage doors close, he's absolute savage, and he has his. I think the most important thing for him now, he has his confidence, and he's able to train. Like, this guy's only been fighting for 6 years. That's insane. Insane.
Oh, Eddie, I'm going to put you on the spot there because I know you're a big fan of DC. So who takes that one?
I can't listen. I have to say, I think right now, today, DC would take that fight based on his experience and everything. And you've seen what DC can do in the wrestling category, and you see the blueprint. Like, Stipe gave the blueprint to beat Fracis. Like, Stipe, what people don't realize is this. Stipe didn't only beat Fracis once. He actually beat Fracis 3 times. Because after that Stipe fight, Fracis went on a 2-fight losing streak.
Yeah.
I think he lost to Black Beast. I think he lost to somebody else. And it wasn't because he wasn't a better fighter than those guys. Stipe literally put him mentally, just handicapped him. Because he took him down. He made Fracis afraid to throw power shots because he was worried about everybody taking him down. So Stipe literally beat this man 3 times. He's the only person to really, truly beat him. And he gave the blueprint. And Fracis hit Stipe. Clean. And Stipe was able to, regain his consciousness, regain his mind, and take him down and go through the game plan. And we've seen DC get hit by some vicious strikers. We've seen DC get hit. By
twice.
Anthony Rumble Johnson. We've seen him, fight some of the strongest punchers. He got hit by by the Black Beast a few times. So DC's got a chin. So if he can literally weather the storm, move around a little bit, let Francis try one of those big looping shots, take him down. Once he gets on top, man, that's where I think Francis is going to struggle the most. So if he can shore up that wrestling game, he's going to be a heavyweight champion. So time will tell. So I have to go DC as of right now.
Yeah, no, I definitely would agree. Overall DC's overall game is a lot better. It's just more like, can anyone take something clean on the button from Ngannou? That's the question.
There is no human being that can take it from him. But I think the problem with that is that most intelligent strikers are not going to allow him to get a clean shot if he doesn't clean up his technique. Like power, his raw power is there, but his chin is up a lot of times when he's throwing those shots and he's taking looping shots. He's just so powerful he can take them. But if you have a wrestler that's literally just waiting for you to throw a big shot, it makes it so much easier to take you down. So if he doesn't learn to set those shots up, he's going to always have a problem with an elite wrestler. Like Stipe is an elite wrestler. He's a college Division I wrestler. DC's an Olympic wrestler. So those are just bad matchups for him. This couldn't have been a better matchup for him. Like literally, they gave him another striker who never tried to take anybody down in his life. So he was walking into the fight knowing exactly what his opponent is going to do. He had zero fear of letting go and throwing punches because he knew that the guy wasn't going to try to take him down. And the guy was willing to trade with him. So it's like, you're willing to play that game. It's just we see how that turns out. That's another undefeated fighter.
Yeah.
So,
and that was crazy because Rosenstruck called him out. Rosenstruck asked for the fight.
Yeah, because you know why? Because when you're watching somebody fight, like if I'm watching him fight, right? I'm saying, he's not really that technical. All right, he's powerful. I just don't have to get hit by him. So if you're another big guy and you're an elite striker, you're watching that, you're like, whatever, I got hit by other guys. I could beat him. I got way more technique. Yeah, until you're in that fire pit and you actually get hit by him because it was just from like right through. We should ask Overeem how that goes. Yeah. Overeem, like
he doesn't remember.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's just scary, man, when you got a savage like that. So it's wild.
Yeah.
I personally think we're gonna see. I still think we could have seen that fight go the other way, and I think we will see a lot more bodies fall to Jairzinho Rosenstruck before he's up. He's terrified.
Oh, yes.
I know we're really tight on time, Eddie. So let us
Guys,
wrap
I got
up
some extra time too. I got a text message, so I got a little bit extra time. So
okay, cool, brilliant.
We'll play it by ear.
Well, Calvin Kattar and Jeremy Stevens, elbows, the bows. What the hell? What did you make of them?
Another insane fight. Like Jeremy Stevens, I as a fighter, man, you have so much respect for people that you know to go out there and lays it on the line. Like Jeremy Stevens lays it on the line every single fight. He's been fighting forever. I think he might have probably the most UFC fights in history. Like that guy lays it down, and he was doing phenomenal. I think, in my personal opinion, he was winning. He was winning that fight. He looked great. Calvin Kattar, he's an interesting cat. Like he is so technical. I think he might have the cleanest boxing I've seen. It's just super clean. It just looks so effortless. And he mixed up the strike with the elbow coming in, which was just perfect timing. It's like, I don't think people realize the level, the precision, and the technique that takes. And he had a sick walkout song. That's my teammate Chris Wyman's walkout song. And Chris finished Munoz with an elbow just like that. So I have to say maybe it's the walkout song that did it. But that fight was off the charts. That's another fight that could have been a fight night main event.
Yeah, it's crazy. We probably had, I mean, you got Luque Price, which was another absolute scrap. You know,
you've got. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I mean, how do you forget about that fight? You know, then you had Mitchell and Rosa. How impressive was Mitchell? That was
listen.
Good. Oh God, Eddie, your sound's gone.
That was some of the most. Like when I say wild, he looked phenomenal. He absolutely looked phenomenal. He did amazing. That kid is dangerous. If he gets his hands anywhere close to his ground game, ooh, he's gonna be deadly.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, he did that. Before this, I'm not sure if you saw the last episode, but I had all my money on Rosa in that fight. I thought it was too soon for Mitchell. I thought, Rosa is obviously a black belt in jiu-jitsu, so I was like, he's not going to have his way with Rosa. Rosa's too good on the ground. And then he just came out, and I mean, he what was it, like eight submission attempts or something like that?
And he was trying twisters. He was trying this. It was just so fluent. It was just beautiful. Anybody that says jiu-jitsu is boring and ground fighting is boring, what that kid just did was just phenomenal. Like he was a younger version, a more, I can't say a better ground guy, but than Damian Maia. But he was like a more active, younger Damian Maia. It was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. It got to the point where I think Rosa was so frustrated, he almost tried to talk his way up. He tried to talk him to let him up.
Yeah, he did, right? He's like, you just gotta sit there, and like 10 seconds left.
It was wild.
Yeah, unbelievable. I'm just trying to think. I mean, it's just I genuinely don't think there was a bad fight. There's a couple that I probably wouldn't, go, oh, you need to watch this fight, but there wasn't a single, I think every single fighter showed up on the night. I think it was it was almost like this is a real chance to prove myself on such a big stage. So thank you everyone that competed.
Yeah, man. It was wild, man. Every single fighter that sacrificed traveling, getting away from their family, and going through that fight, greatly appreciated, man. They put on a show. You couldn't ask for a better card. Like if every single fight had no dull moments, this wouldn't be realistic, but that's a promoter's dream. That card, if anything can come close to that, it's just unreal. And you couldn't pick a better time because there's no sports going on. So anybody that's not a true diehard fan, when they see this, it's going to literally make them a fan now because it was that phenomenal. So UFC, man, they did it again. They're the trendsetters, man. They're doing all the right things. We're gonna see now how other promotions, fall in line. Can a Bellator put on a card? You see the protocol is there now. So now the blueprint's there. But these smaller regional promotions, now what with those guys? I don't think they're gonna have the money to put on these cards without an actual audience. So what's gonna happen is the regional scene gonna die out. If that's the case, then the UFC is gonna have to get involved. Bellator is gonna have to get involved because you need those talents. The UFCs, the Bellators, the ONE FCs, they need the PFLs. They need these smaller regional promotions to develop the talent because you can't pay everybody, and you want these guys to be active. So we're going to see how this affects mixed martial artists, going forward, because these promotions aren't going to be able to sell fights unless they're going to be just going to a digital platform. But even these lower regional fighters, they're going to sell pay-per-views. Who knows? Maybe YouTube streams. They're going to do like YouTube lives, PayPal lives. Maybe they'll do Zooms. Who knows? So
they can hop on with us.
That's it, right? Yeah, they're gonna be doing Zoom. They might start doing Zoom cards, man. Like you figure they'll pay $5-10. Maybe that could be the new route. I gotta think about getting that going.
There you go. Entrepreneur. Here we are again. And Eddie, what's going on for you at the moment? So I'm assuming you're quarantining like everyone else. What's the?
Yeah, man. I'm locked in the house. I'm hoping that they open up our state. The 15th, that the Labor Department agrees, and then May 15th that they'll start opening up things in phases. So right now, man, I'm going digital with everything, man. So my gym can't have people come in the gym until the 15th. So we open up different online classes. I've really been able to focus on like my motivational speaking and trying to help people through like my YouTube channel. And I've been able to do things. I probably did more podcasts, more interviews than I ever done in quite some time because I have the free time now to actually do it. So I'm just trying to stay, productive. And no, please, I appreciate you guys. Try to stay productive with the idle time, and just build up things. I'm super excited about the future. In talks with a really big promotion about getting back and fighting. So if everything figures it out, then I'll be back in there doing something different. Doing something that I'm super excited about. I don't want to give it away because the second I say it, it's going to be obvious. But it's definitely life changing. It's really cool. I'm excited about it, the different options that I have. So we'll see if it comes through. It comes through. If not, I'm just gonna keep changing lives.
So you got, come on, you can't leave us. Something. Come on.
Oh man, all I can say is, man, I would love to fight Mike Tyson one day in my life. I think Mike Tyson is the man, and to see his resurrection is just phenomenal. Like just to see him just change his body, his mind, his spirit. He's a true warrior, and I know that if he actually fights Shannon Briggs in bare knuckle boxing, and that actually really happens, then I need to be on that card. That's as big as a hint that I can give you. But I don't ever talk about something unless it actually happens. But there's so many good promotions now, man.
Yeah.
There's so many different promotions that are paying fighters like their value, because the UFC is the NFL of mixed martial arts, but I think it's top heavy. I think a lot of the top guys get really good money, and some of the mid-level guys, the lower level entry guys, don't get really paid well. These other promotions are able to to level the playing field monetary wise. I think the UFC needs those mid-level guys and those rising stars, because fighting is fighting, man. The worst guy in the UFC and the best guy in the UFC, they're so close. It's such a little tiny little thing. But if you want to be popular, then the UFC, no doubt about it, is where to be. But if you want to make money and support your family, there's a bunch of different options now that are paying people really, really well, because they realize that every fighter has something to offer. Every single fighter, they have a fan base, and the more that they do outside of the actual ring is the more money they're going to bring inside the ring. If you're a fighter and you're watching this podcast and you genuinely think that the promotion really do care about you, I'm sorry to tell you this. Every decision they make is going to be based off of how much dollars and revenue they can bring into the company, and that's because they're running a business. If you see what happened to Anderson Silva, like, I think that's the best example. Like, Anderson Silva was the main pay-per-view buy. Like, he was the man for them. And the second that he had a couple losses and they didn't feel like he was, a revenue builder, he ended up on Fight Pass. Like I don't think people remember that, but it's just like you go from pay-per-view getting paid pay-per-view points to be on Fight Pass, and most people not even have access to watch your fight. It's just wild. And if that can happen to Anderson Silva, then it can happen to anybody. Like you got to think about it like that. So make as much money as you can, and just use what these companies are doing, like the building a brand, and just
Whoa.
Yeah, you're. I think the service is dropping a bit. Oh, you're back. You're back.
Okay, I think I was just quiet. I was just quite quiet.
I was going to ask you, has your wife given you permission to get into a cage again?
She it's funny, we had this conversation the other day. She's like, listen, with this quarantine, man, look like 2020 is slowing down. You ain't getting nothing but older. But like, as long as I'm safe about it, man, I want to just make sure that if I fight, it's all for the right reasons. Like, I don't want to fight for money. I want to fight because for the sheer competition. I want to fight because I'm healthy enough and I want to actually do it. So, she's giving me permission as long as we take the right protocols and steps. So I'm excited.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. Well, we're excited for you, man.
Yeah, we really appreciate the time, man. And
no, listen, I appreciate you guys. No, listen, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on the show. It means a lot. Like, I love to get on these shows, man, and just talk with real people, and just hopefully help you build your podcast up and get your brand out there.
Thank you, sir.
Reach a new audience, but it was good, man. You guys did an amazing job. I don't know how many of these shows you guys had already, but you guys did an awesome job.
This is number 2. Thank you very much.
Look at that. You guys are groundbreaking.
Cheers, Eddie.
Awesome stuff.
All right, man.
You guys have a good one.
Eddie,
man.
thanks again, man. Stay safe.
No worries.
You too.
You too. Have a good one.
All right. God. Eddie Truck Gordon, ladies and gentlemen. So again, tough 19, middleweight champion. Same season as Corey Anderson and a couple of others.
And we might see him back. We might not have seen the last one.
I was. It was funny. He was talking there, and I was like, oh, I'm in talks with an exciting organization. He said, I was like, I wonder is this bare knuckle boxing? And then you were like, you pushed him, and then he hinted at it with Mike Tyson and Shannon Briggs. But that'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. I'd be fucking.
If
for him to get on that. Could you imagine being on a car with Mike Tyson?
Oh, but how old is Tyson now, by the way? I saw this. How old is he now?
53.
53. But he can punch, though. Fuck me. Did you
Oh
see that video
man,
going around?
he still looks lethal. Like
Mm.
absolutely, man. Could you imagine taking a punch off him without gloves? I don't care if the man's 75. You're still going to sleep. Like it's just absurd. Like he's an absolute killer. But
He's even more scary with the grey hair.
I know.
It's
But
like
man,
he's,
if
it's like
if
he's
he
got a
looks like
grey,
a
one grey hair for every man he's fucking rendered.
every man he's absolutely taken the soul from. Uh, yeah, but
How are you hairy cunt? What's going
I'm
on?
good. I'm
How's
good.
New
I've
York?
got the puppers here. Sam is in bed asleep right now. She's not well at all today. So, yeah, not exactly sure what's going on with her. I'm hoping it's not the Rona, but yeah, she's
Godspeed, Sam.
yeah. So, wish her a healthy recovery, please. I'm sure she's fine. She's good now, but yeah, she's just trying to sleep it off. But
Yeah.
aside from that, yeah, the weather's been shit. It was snowing over the weekend.
Was it? Fuck. I've
No.
got the two dogs here as well, right? And uh, they started barking at something out the window in the middle of Eddie. Eddie was like fucking 10 seconds into talking, and Caesar was like, "Wah!" out the window. I was like, you'll see it if you have a look
Oh,
back.
I,
You'll
th- I
see me
think I
grab
did see
Caesar.
you do
Yeah,
something there.
and then I'm like riding the fucking window down so they could stop seeing. There's these kids that go by on bikes, and they're just like, wow, like fucking bananas every time these kids go by. So
Look, this
and
this is real life. You know, we never said this was going to be a professional production. So yeah, you get what you get. But
yeah, fucking I've no socks on either, because if you hadn't noticed, the sun is blasting this fucking room, so it's roasting in here. And Caesar coming around under the desk, and Eddie's talking away, and he just licks my toe, and I was like, what the fuck was that? Yeah.
he's Odin's bad for licking as well. Like he just sits there and he'll lick my leg for half an hour straight, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And you know, like I'll move, I'll adjust, and then he'll come over again. He'll like lay down, act all innocent, and then he starts licking me again. I'm like, my fucking leg was sopping wet the other day. I'm sat there playing a video game, and I look down, and he's just there fucking.
Fucking hell.
Oh god.
You're a leg in.
Yes.
We
So
have we have just had a big card, obviously, but we have a card coming on Wednesday night. So I mean, it's not a huge card, but let's have a really quick look ahead at least the main event of Wednesday's fight card. So
pull that up. So I'm a little bit confused with you because they've announced two, right? And it's in the space of like a week. Is
Wednesday,
it?
Saturday.
Wednesday, Saturday.
So
Yes.
this Wednesday is Glover Teixeira and
Anthony Smith, right?
yeah, Anthony Smith. Let me just pull up the card here because versus Anthony Smith. It's not too easy to type when you're dyslexic. Glover Teixeira and Anthony Smith, yeah. UFC fight night, and then there's also the it's his second fight night. That's next Saturday, which is the what date would next Saturday be? Good Lord,
That's
16th.
Paul Paris and Overeem, right?
That's correct. Yeah, Saturday night is the 16th. So Sunday morning for people in Ireland or Europe, I believe, unless they have the fight night. Unless they have the fight night cards on a little bit earlier, but yeah, interested to watch the main event. I expect it to end in violence anyway. Both Anthony Smith and Glover Teixeira are finishers, big finishers. So
I'm heavily favoring Smith in that because I think he's tough as nails. I don't think Teixeira is what he used to be anymore. And Smith is he's obviously lost to Jones, but he was somewhat competitive in that fight, in a fight that he was completely, he was a huge underdog in that. So Smith is good, man. I wonder if the whole house break-in, that's could potentially affect things. I know it's a while ago now, but we always think of these fighters as being like, oh, he's a fighter, somebody broke into the wrong house, but like still had somebody that he didn't know in his house, and
oh yeah, man,
like,
that would freak you the fuck out.
Yeah, that's like not normal. And like, yeah, of course. I mean, I'd much rather be Anthony Smith than myself if somebody breaks into my apartment, but it's still like, doesn't matter who you are. It's still somebody's coming in to do you or your family harm. So, that it's still strange.
Yeah, the Glover is getting, he's tipping the scales towards the older side. So two external factors there. The co-main is Ben Rothwell versus Ovince St. Preux at heavyweight. Ovince St. Preux is going to be thick. He is going to be fucking thick. I bet he's about 250, right?
He's already a big boy as it is. Yeah. So I think that's a decent move for him.
It's a good fight.
I think he's a lot more technical than a lot of the heavyweight division. Like he's, OSP's a good kickboxer, and I don't think he could really keep up with the elite at light heavyweight. So, seeing him at heavyweight is interesting. I think he's probably a top 10. We'll see how far he can kind of stretch it out.
Could be, yeah. Alexander Hernandez, who we saw get TKO'd by Donald Cerrone in Barclays Center. Okay, that was good. He's fighting Drew Dober, who is a problem. So that's a good fight. Other than that, then Carl Robertson's fighting Marvin Vettori. That's a decent fight. Andrei Arlovsky's on the prelims. Michael Johnson's on the prelims.
Michael Johnson. I'll always tune in to watch Michael Johnson. That's anytime Michael Johnson fights,
back at lightweight.
Yeah, I think that's another good move for him.
Yeah, I think so. Thiago Moises is 12-4 Brazilian lightweight, and he's fighting an American top team, so he's no slouch. So it'd be good to see Michael pick up an L win. What else we got to talk about? I suppose we'll be chatting Thursday, right? So we can do a preview of our post fight of Wednesday and a preview of Thursday. Hoping to have another guest on next Sunday too.
Yep.
Won't be announcing any guests, however, until we record the podcast and upload the podcast, because people are difficult to pin down, which is understandable, given that they're all stuck in their houses doing fucking nothing. But I wouldn't want to talk to us two assholes either if I wasn't one of us two assholes. So,
look, we got one under our belt. It was awesome. Again, big shout out and thank you to Eddie Truck Gordon. It's even hearing about him, and his kind of insights into, the business side of things and, his kind of how he viewed things, kind of talking about personal experience when he was like, well, I've done that. And then you forget that the guy fought in a cage for a living, just like hearing that level of kind of mental insight as to like how he would prepare or, what his thoughts are with no fans. It's just awesome. So big shout out and thanks again, Eddie. It was great to have you on. And, it's great to speak with people like that, and I think it wraps up episode 6 very nicely.
Hopefully Eddie does come back, and we wish him the best of luck in his next bout if he does, and be great to link back in with him closer to the time and chat about an actual fight with him. But brother, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to go walk the dogs, and I'm going to piss because I've been holding in a piss for like 60 minutes.
You'll find me on the toilet for the next half an hour.
All right, bro. Much love. Go on. I'll talk to you. I'll fucking talk to you soon enough, I'm sure.
Peace. Thank you, everyone.